I can't say I was on that type of time at all times, but most definitely as I progressed, as I elevated myself, as my finances grew, I understood what was at risk. And your whole approach changed once you have more things at risk. The same dude that you see right now that only got a box Chevy that's riding up and down the street, he a totally different person when he got $5 million at risk. You understand? So, you know, as I grew, as I moved on, you know, where I'm from in Miami, one of the homies that I looked up to and one of the ones that inspired me the most, he actually was featured on America's Most Wanted. He's serving 3 life sentences right now, and I still have, you know, I still see a day of him coming home. We ain't give up yet, but when I speak to him and I ask him for advice as well, big homie, what's one of the things you wish you could have changed? And it's a dude that's been accused for over 80 homicides. And one of the things he told me was, Rose, I wish I would have learned to give a pass. That's something I never knew how to do, was give a square pass, give a mark a pass. If you did anything out of line, it wasn't no pass. So you understand? When he was 26, being featured on America's Most Wanted, that's one thing, but now when you're older, you realize my life was at risk. If it's something that I admire, if it's something I want, if I wake up and say, yo, I want to call Jacob and get that $3 million watch, we get it. We're in that position now. But when I'm grinding and I'm climbing up the mountain, and it's either we could go to Vegas and spend $500,000 this weekend, or we get a piece of real estate. It ain't even nothing to consider. But most definitely, it was still, let's take it to that next level. Because we've seen this. Honestly, am I impressed? There's very few things that's going to impress me because we've seen this. And if it's something we've seen, I mean, I can applaud you. But that may be the most I could do because we've seen this. So, you know, the goal is let's do something we've never seen. That's what's burning the fire within me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And we got some goats that's ahead of us that still can inspire us. But if it's something I've seen, all right, it's cool. Well, really, it was just, once again, you know, having more time to spend on the promised land than I have ever, maybe, you know what I mean? So I'm walking around, I'm getting up, getting on social media. I had to ask my homie, show me how to use my story. He showed me this how you do it. You hold it down and then you can spin it around. Okay, cool. I just began walking around barefoot, so on and so forth, just talking a little shit, but at the same time, it's time to capitalize on the moment. This will separate the real boys and men. It's a lot of dudes I saw live a certain lifestyle that came to a cease as soon as that motherfucking fungus hit.
Fungus among us.
The fungus still among us.
Still among us.
You feel me? A lot of motherfuckers' lifestyle cease. It wasn't like that for Rose. That's the only way I could see me having 20 current partnerships without any stress, without being burnt out, actually looking forward to this shit. You understand? We looking forward to sitting down with the homies. You can imagine how many interviews I do, how many Zooms, I call them Vrooms, and I look forward to the shit. And how can I do that? It's because the small talk shouldn't make it to the boss. You should have somebody on your team that's so hungry that shit ain't gonna even get past them. Of course they gonna check in and run it by you because that's what you do out of respect for the boss, but you already know what the play is. And if I was the little homie next to the billionaire, it's very little that we get to him.
Artists.
It's not, and as an artist, and not to cut you off, but that's something I had to learn myself. And the sad part about it is, a lot of times as being a young artist, I used to make songs dissing, you know, CEOs or anybody I was doing business with, when a lot of times they wasn't even in position or they weren't even owning their masters. So it's something that you actually gotta, oh, okay, woo, 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 woo. And so, you know, the first situation I was in was X amount of records. And of course, as I'm delivering my albums, you know, I'm learning, I'm asking more questions. Okay. The bigger I got as an artist, the better attorneys I got. The more, okay, this the play. Okay, you have 2 more albums under this contract. After that, we finna renegotiate. Boom, you're gonna own your masters. You're gonna do this. Okay, so this the play. And so as a young artist, a lot of times you coming in the game, you're not gonna own your masters.
Yeah.
Because not who's there to really educate them. Everything I've done as a boss in that MMG, man, I enjoy it. And I'm proud of it. Most definitely, Meek Mill, Wale, just the whole team, Gunplay, all my squad, because all my homies can still be creative based on their time frame. I give everybody their freedom to do whatever the play is you want to do. You your own boss, you know what I mean? Even in this partnership, you your boss. Whatever it is, let's go. I'm gonna support what your vision is. And you know, I don't have no regrets. I just feel like, you know, when it comes to being creative, we all need to take advantage of our assets. Let's take advantage of it. That's something we could do. If we could communicate, we most definitely are authors. You naturally are author, homie. And then if you most definitely got something that's valuable for others to absorb, you are author. So let's not leave that untapped. You must manage your emotions. You gotta master the art of taking the L. Because being a boss, you're gonna lose, you're gonna win. You know, so you gotta be able to grow and take from whatever the situation is, regardless of what it is. And sometimes I may not be the best at dealing with my emotions. Sometimes I do. It's like that though. But overall, you know what I mean? I leave my door open for good business. And that's more important than the way I eat my emotions.
You ever just wake up like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened?
I do it all the time. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Nigga, I look over there, look at this shit, nigga, this shit, y'all niggas crazy. But you know, it just remind you, it ain't nothing nobody can't stop you from doing. I don't know how many cars we got. That motherfucker's so clean. That station wagon, come on, man, I hadn't even seen one of them before. I ain't drove that one, or that one yet.
That's the real old school.
That's a real old school station wagon, for real, for real. I spend 100 on the old school every month. 100, every month. I call in, hey man, it's how I like it, send it. It's so obvious. You gotta have respect. You gotta have respect, you gotta know your role, you gotta play your position. You gotta know what the deal is. You gotta honor the set, man. That's how it go. And when you're one of them people who you honor the set, you understand your role, hey, maybe some things come a little easier. When I see motherfuckers who live a little reckless sometimes, you could block your blessings, man. You could be sitting right next to the next play that could have put you in position, boy, to join the 3 Comma Club. When I sat down with Jay and L.A. Reid, you know, I got a 7-figure advance right off the rip for, you know, my first album. I wasn't satisfied though. And most definitely, that might have been at the top of the list. I scratched that bitch out, you feel me? But it's too much more history to make. So like I said, I got that advance and I hadn't spent shit. I already had a crib. I already had my 745 Beam and, you know, what other little whips I had just from doing my thing. So I just stayed focused on the grind. That whole first year, when you go back and listen to all my records, really from 06, my voice hoarser than a motherfucker, because I was doing shows and verses every day. I ain't give a fuck. I wasn't leaving nothing on the table, nothing. And that's still my mentality right now. That's still my mentality right now. Me and Jeezy was just having a conversation about this a day or two ago. I'm still that same person, regardless of how, whatever the fuck we got. If somebody come over here and they talking about, I'm gonna tell them, come drop that off and bring the rest the next day. That's just rose, that's just, it don't matter.
You never get satisfied.
Nah. Why not? Let's do something we ain't never seen.
Make history.
That's what it's all about. If it ain't history, that shit small talk, homie.